Okay guys, so we're back with part 2 of our role reaction bot. I apologize for cutting it off just like so randomly, but I really wanted to divide this into different parts because I really don't like making such long videos because I don't know, maybe it's because I just go in depth all the time on explaining everything, but I feel like if I don't do that, people are going to get pissed and people are going to be like, "Hey, you just you talk too fast and you never explain anything. Dislike this video. I hate you. Never gonna watch your videos ever again." But that's why I do my best to explain everything because I want you guys to actually understand what's going on. Okay, so we last left off with how we are gonna expect the user to give in their arguments, and we agreed, or well, I pretty much stated that we're gonna expect them to give us the role name, or I'm sorry, the emoji name, and the role name. Okay. For now, we're going to leave it like that. In the future, we're going to make it so that they can give the IDs of the role as well as the emoji, okay? So, please provide all of the emoji names with the role name one by one, separated with a comma. And then we'll do e.g., for example, Snapchat. Snapchat. With the please provide all the emoji names with the role name one by one. Okay, e.g. Where the emoji name comes first, role name comes second. Okay, so let's try this again. So what was it? Add reactions. Okay, and we're gonna copy the ID. Perfect. Okay, great. I think that's good enough. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna process this message inside this filter, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna say console.log. I want to show you guys original message.content is going to contain the message that the user is sending. So if I add reactions. Okay, so if I do Snapchat, right? Snapchat. C-lang, C++, right? We have a role name C++, I think, right? There we go. Let's do... can emoji names have spaces? I don't think so, right? Yeah, I don't think it can. What would happen if I change this to C++? I think it can, but it'll actually end up being resolved by Discord, so I don't think it'll be a problem. Oh, it'll just... Okay, great. That's even better. C... Or this is actually C#. I actually forgot what this was, for example. I thought this was C++. Okay, that's actually C#. Okay. Okay, great. So yeah, even if you have spaces in your emoji name, Discord will automatically remove the spaces. So that's good. And let's say if I did computer science, right? There you go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say let's args equals original message. So we're going to split it by a comma. And we're actually going to use a regular expression. You guys are probably wondering, why do I keep using regular expressions for the most simple things? Because I want to show you guys different ways of doing the same thing. But this is going to be a little bit different because, yes, although we're separating by a comma, what I want to do what I really want to account for is, let's say if someone does this, right? So we're going to split it by a comma plus any enormous amount of spaces, okay? So I'll show you how that works. So we're gonna do slash, or actually we don't even need to do new regex. We can just do slash, comma, backslash s plus, and then forward slash. Okay, so what this is gonna do is it's gonna expect a comma, and it's gonna expect a numerous amount of spaces. I always forget what's the difference between plus or star. I know it's something between like 0, 1, or 1 or more. I always forget, but if you check here, okay, so now watch this. So let's actually just delete all this crap. And honestly, we pretty much have everything set. So the rest of this tutorial is going to be pretty straightforward. What's going on here? Oh wait, it's content.split. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's try this again. All right. Okay. Don't worry about this. That was from the I don't know why that was collected though. Why was that collected? Oh, because we created the collector first, and then okay, that's yeah, okay. Okay, whoops. Okay, let's try this again. Because I did not want that message that was sent by the bot to be collected. Okay, did that even do anything? Hold on. We sent the message, and then we instantiated. I think, you know what? Let's just await this first. Okay, because I think it's happening asynchronous, that's why. Or maybe my bot just didn't restart properly. I don't know. Okay, good. So Snapchat. Good, we have our array. Now let's try this. Let's do Snapchat space Snapchat. And you're gonna see it's gonna give you the same thing. Like, right? If we didn't use a regular expression, it would have given you like it would have given you an extra argument. So I'll show you. So if we did something like just comma space, right? Let's try this again. If I did this, see how it gives you that extra arguments? Or, well, it doesn't give you an extra argument, but it gives you this, and that's not what you want. Okay, now obviously you can use, I think, the trim function to fix that, but, you know, using a regular expression will save you many lines of code. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say this. If args.length is not equal to 2, return false. So that means this message is no longer going to be collected. Okay, well, actually, let me do this, actually. Let's do a couple checks. So instead, what I'll do is I'll do this. We're actually going to do this check here. So if the author IDs is not the same, we're going to return false. We're going to get the args. If the args.length is not equal to 2, return false. So we're then going to have to check to see if the emoji actually exists on the guild. Now, I've never actually done this before, but it should be pretty straightforward. So if you actually go to the guild object, there should be a property called emoji. And as I guessed, we're going to be using the guild emoji manager. And we can reference the cache. That should give us a collection of all of the IDs that map to the emoji. So this is going to be a little bit tricky because we aren't asking the user to give us the ID of the emoji. Instead, we're having them give us the name. Now, obviously, if you want to, in case you don't know, if you want to get the ID of an emoji, you can do a backward slash and then the name of the emoji, and that'll give you the ID of the emoji as well as the name, obviously, in this format. But I think it'd be really difficult because they would have to constantly, you know, keep on doing that to just check. So what we're going to do is we're going to implement our own logic. So what we're going to do first is we're going to reference the guild. So let's just get the guild property first. So I'm going to say let guild, or I'm sorry, let's do yeah, let's get the guild. Actually, no, let's get the cache instead. So the cache is going to be original message .guild. Oh wait, .emojis. There we go. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the cache property. I'm destructuring the cache object from the emojis property. So this is going to give me access to all the emojis. So if I log this to the console, let's just wait for that. And if I do this, and if I type this out now, you're gonna see what happened. I am the original message. I am the original author. Oh wait, this should be not equal. This is why you always have to test your code little by little. Okay. So let's just delete all this. Okay. I should write a purge command. That should be another tutorial. Snapchat. Okay, so now in the console, you're going to see that we have all of the emojis mapped by their ID. Okay, and the ID basically maps to an object, which is a guild emoji type. And we have all the information that we need. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to iterate through. Obviously, passing it by ID would be so much faster because the collection is basically a map, and if you call .get, it's going to be instant access because everything is mapped by a key. And since we're trying to find the property, we're trying to find the emoji by the name. we're gonna have to actually use the find function. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and say let's emoji equal cache dot find, and this is going to take in a callback function, which is also known as a predicate function. Well, for this case, it's gonna be a predicate function. Okay, and the predicate function is going to return true or false. And what it's going to do is it's going to find the first emoji that matches the satisfies the predicate. Okay, so for example, if we're finding by name, we're going to go through every single emoji and we're going to check to see if the emoji's name, emoji.name .to lowercase is equal to, so remember we're passing an emoji, comma, role name or role ID. Okay, so we're gonna do args. Well, actually, let me do this. Emoji role. Hold on. So what I'm going to do here is since this returns an array, I'm going to take an array, or I'm going to like destructure my variables here. Okay. And I'm going to say if emoji name, so if no emoji and no role name, return false. Otherwise, it's going to give us, so instead of referencing the array by using the bracket operator and specifying the index, I'm just going to go ahead and get the values stored inside here automatically. Okay, so that's one way you can destructure values in an array, which is pretty cool. Okay, the more you know, the better. Okay, cool. It's pretty much like the same concept we're doing here with the destruction of the cache. Basically, since this array has two elements, right? The first element, which is at index 0, is going to get assigned to emoji name, and the second element is going to assign to role name. Okay, so let's try this one more time, just so I can show you Snapchat, and you're gonna see. There you go, logs it right over here, just like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say let emoji equal cache.find emoji, and the callback function is going to basically check to see if emoji.name.toLowercase is going to be equal to emoji name.toLowercase. Now remember, this is going to find the first emoji. So if you have emojis on your server that are the same, well, actually, remember what we said earlier? If you have two emojis that are same name, Discord will actually resolve it. It's going to add a tilde with a 1 or a 2, depending on what you have. So remember, I'm pretty sure I showed you guys this earlier, but if I rename that to Python, I think it's still going to be named Python, but if you try to use it, it's going to do that. So I'm actually not sure. Let me actually try this again. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to console.log the cache. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and try this again. Whoops. Okay. And let's look for the roles. If you don't see Python twice, or if you see Python twice, then yeah, okay. So, Discord itself doesn't actually mask the name. I'm sorry, the API doesn't actually mask the name. It's just the client-sided thing. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna run into an issue where, again, let's say for example, if you have two emojis with the same name. For example, you have two emojis named Python. It's going to always return this emoji first, because it came first, right? And I think you actually cannot rearrange your emojis. I'm not sure how they're actually sorted in. They're definitely not sorted in alphabetical order. So I would just be very careful. Okay, but we can also write a script later on that can check to see how many emojis exist with the name ID. And if there are duplicates, we can say, hey, double check this, or we can have them pick whichever we want. But we're going to save that for a more advanced tutorial. For now, we're just going to assume that every single emoji name is distinct. Okay, so if the emoji exists, we're going to go ahead and say this. Look, so what we're going to do is if emoji does not exist, we want to do something. right? Now I want to return false because that means this message was not collected. But if it returns false, we need to actually do something. We need to notify the user that this message, this was an invalid, thing. I think dispose, yeah, I think dispose is the event that we want. Okay, great. Okay, so this is actually pretty awesome. So every single time a message is disposed, there's an event that is being fired, and this takes in a couple parameters. It takes in one. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. How do we know which message to actually I'm trying to see. Okay, actually, you know what? We're gonna skip this. Okay, so if emoji does not exist, we're just gonna say original message dot channel dot send, or let me actually scope this. Message does not exist. Okay, now over here, I'm not gonna make this an async await function. I'm just gonna use dot then, and I'm going to delete the message after 2 seconds. Of course, I could have just turned this into an asynchronous function, but I don't know if that would have given issues with this. But again, we're always going to be using different syntax all the time. So basically what I'm doing here is, remember, .send method returns a promise, and if we wanted to use await, we could, but we just have to be inside an asynchronous function. But instead, we can handle the promise by calling .then, and the callback function, which is over here, takes in one parameter. It takes in the message that was sent to that channel or to the user if you send it to a DM channel, and I'm just going to delete the message after 2 seconds, just like that. Okay, great. Okay, message does not exist. Delete the message, and then we can just return false. And now let's check this out now. Okay, so let's, again, I'm always going to be testing it little by little. Our bot hasn't started up yet, or our add reactions catch. What's going on here? Excuse me. Line 32. Did I mess something up somewhere? What did I do wrong? Just try. Oh, I must have accidentally deleted something. When did I delete that? I did not even recognize that. Okay. All right, there we go. That should work. Okay, all of our commands. That's why I love this so much. Like, I love this command loader that I built in the last video that I made, or like 2 videos ago. Because since I have an error here, there was an error that was thrown, and even when errors are, even if like a syntax is incorrect in this file, it's gonna fail to load that module, which is pretty awesome. And if you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend you check it out. It's pretty cool. Okay, so let's try this out now. Let's issue the command. Let's do Snapchat message. Wait, why did I say message? Emoji. I'm sorry, it's pretty late, and my brain is just like scattered. But I really meant to say emoji. It does not exist. I know some of you guys are probably facepalming right now. But okay, there we go. So you guys get the idea, right? Okay, and if that doesn't work, if they specified an incorrect emoji, try again. What this means is that we did not pass this message into the collected. Okay, so we haven't done anything yet. Okay, so we're gonna return false. Basically, that this message is disposed. Okay, we're also going to check to see if the role actually exists. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and find the role by name, and again, the same thing. If you have multiple roles with the same name, it's going to get the first role that matches that predicate function. Okay, so I highly recommend using IDs, but and again, in the later video, I'm going to show you guys how to do it by ID. Okay, so let's do this. Let role equal. So we're gonna have to get the role from the cache from the guild. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say this. So we already have cache up here already. Honestly, I'm just gonna do this original because I honestly completely didn't realize that we're gonna be dealing with 2 different caches. So you know what? Yeah, we'll just do this original message .guild .roles .cache, and we're gonna say find role And for this predicate function, we're gonna reference the role name dot to lowercase equals role name dot to lowercase. Okay. And if this returns true, that means it's going to give us a role. Okay. So if no role, then we're just going to do the same thing. Role does not exist. Try again. Okay, so let's actually try this out. Okay, so our bot's not loaded. Okay, there we go. So let's do Snapchat. Okay, and now let's do some random thing. Now it should say what happened over here. What's going on? Did I do something wrong? Okay, well this definitely should have not triggered because it would have sent that message. Now the role itself was not found. And now if no role does not exist. A message should have been sent, but why did it log this? Did I log the cache somewhere? Yes, I did over here. Okay. What's going on? Okay. Yeah, my node one has been acting really weird for some reason, but okay, and we're gonna do Snapchat, blah blah blah. Perfect. Okay, so here's what I want to mention. Okay, so if the emoji doesn't exist, it's gonna say the emoji does not exist, and it's gonna return false. Okay, so the role could exist, right? I could have passed in an invalid emoji, but I could have passed in an actual role that existed. But if the emoji doesn't exist, then it's going to return first. Okay, so if the emoji exists, then this case is not going to happen. And if the role exists, then this is case is not going to happen. So if we've done all of our checks, so if everything is correct, I think that's all we have to do. We're not going to worry about checking if the role has certain permissions, because honestly, that should be, because you know, if you're someone that's using this bot, you should know better not to allow your users to assign themselves to a moderator role, especially through a role reaction command. Okay, it's just common sense. So we're just going to return true. We've done all our checks already. I'm pretty sure we've done all of the valid checks that we need to do. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to return true. So basically we're going to return that message. We're going to return that message, and that's going to go inside this collected message. Okay, so you're going to see that inside here, it's going to start logging. Let me just make sure I'm not logging anything else. Okay, good. So let's issue our command. Let's do Snapchat. Snapchat. Good. And you're going to see in the console, Snapchat was collected. If I do Snapchat hello world, it's not going to say anything because the role doesn't exist. But if I do Facebook, okay. Well, wait. Why did I not send the message to the console? Or why did it not send? Wait. Why did it not send role does not exist? That is so weird. That should have sent the role does not exist. I'm actually really confused. Okay, well that exists and that worked. Okay, so if I do, what if I did Facebook, what if I did Facebook try? It should say role does not exist, but I don't know why it's not saying that. Role does not exist. I mean, okay. I mean, it's definitely not an await issue. I have to figure this out. I don't want any bugs. So it's important that I try it right now. Well, the emoji itself actually exists, right? There is an emoji called Facebook, isn't there? Yeah, there's an emoji called Facebook. Okay. And if I did Facebook try... Okay, there we go. For some reason that didn't work. I don't know why. It's so weird. I'm pretty sure it's my node mod just acting up. It's so weird. I don't know why. Okay, anyways. So we're gonna do... same thing. Let's do FB, Facebook. It's because the emoji doesn't exist. Facebook, comma, Facebook. There we go. Facebook, comma, blah, blah. Okay, perfect. So we know this is exactly what we want. Okay, so if it was collected, which means that all of our cases pass, that means that they entered a correct emoji. name and they enter the correct role name. Okay, so if that is true, there's actually one more thing that we need to actually do. Okay, so if that returns true, then we're gonna actually have to get the proper role name and the proper emoji name. So we're gonna have to basically find it again. Okay, so I don't know. Here's one thing that I'm not sure about. I don't know if the order is always going to be preserved. Let me actually just check that real quick if you call that find. Because this is actually a good question that I want to ask. So, because remember how I said find is always going to collect the single item? It searches for a single item where the given function returns a truth value. And it's always going to find the first one. But the thing is the order of it always going to be the same? That is the question. So again, let's say if I have two roles with the same name, right? Is it going to find the first role? Okay, so let's say, for example, how do I say this? Let's say if I have A and A, right? So let me zoom in a little bit. So if I have these two roles, right, is it always going to find this A or this A, right? Because if it's always going to find this one, right, then we can safely assume that yes, the order is always going to be the same. But if it doesn't, then that's going to be a problem. So we have to check that out real quick. But I'm pretty sure the order is going to be the same, though. I don't think there's going to be much of a conflict. And but we can figure that out right over here. So yes, we have to put that in here. Well, actually, I'm wondering if I can actually decisions. I'm trying to think what I'm trying to do. Okay, we'll just get it again over here. Okay, but by this time we can assume that everything is there. So I'm gonna copy pretty much majority of this code all over again and put that in here. And this is starting to look a little messy, but we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna keep this. But instead of original message, it's just going to be MSG, because now we're in this scope over here, okay? So, because we're not in this function anymore, so we have to change the parameter to MSG, okay? Same thing over here. And, well, since it passed the filter, then we can just get rid of this check because we don't need it. We always know we're going to have the emoji. We're going to check it as well, just in case. That's. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay. And so, if emoji and role. Okay, so from here, what we need to do is we actually need to save our data to a database. Okay. This is going to allow us to preserve all of the role reactions over time. Okay, so I actually have done this in Python a while ago, but I can't remember the way I did it. But basically, the idea is I need some time to actually think about this, because what we need to do, the reason why we need to save the data to the database, is because this message itself is not going to be cached forever. So every single time this message is receiving a reaction, what we need to do is we need to fetch this message, and we need to make sure that all of the correct reactions are being reacted with. Though we can solve, but here's the thing: you can actually make it a lot easier if you disable the add reactions permission. That way people can't add new reactions to it, which, I mean, you should always do that, of course, because the only important thing that we need to do is we just need to add the reactions with the correct emojis to this. But actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was actually misleading information for just a sec. Okay, I just realized why we actually need to save it to the database. Okay, so what I just said, ignore it. The reason why we need to save it to the database is because every single time we are checking this message, right, we need to look at which emoji that they're reacting with, right? And how are you going to get that? Like, because remember, when we're entering in Snapchat, right, Snapchat with Snapchat, you know, Facebook, Facebook, we're basically saying, hey, look, the emoji Snapchat corresponds to the role Snapchat. Likewise with Facebook and Facebook. Same thing with YouTube and Twitter, etc. If you restart the bot, all this data is going to be gone. If you save this in memory and if you restart the bot, all this data is going to be gone. So we need to fetch it from the database. And every single time someone reacts to this message, we're going to need to get that information from the database. And we're going to say, hey, look, go through this data from the database and look at which emoji that the user reacted to. And whichever emoji that user reacted to, look at the corresponding role and get that data. Check if that role exists. If it does, give it to the user. Okay, so hopefully that part made sense. The rest of this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add all of the emojis to the. I'm gonna react to this message, and I think that'll be okay. So if both of these things exist, we're gonna go ahead and react to the message. So I'm going to go ahead and say message.react. I think, actually, no, we have to do it a different way. I'm pretty sure it's message.reactions. Message.reactions. .reactions, because everything, and you can guess that this is a reaction manager, and if you want to add it, or actually, wait, no. Okay, never mind. I think we can actually just call react. Okay, I think the manager is really just for caching data, really. Is for handling uncached data. I don't think reactions are cached. I'm not sure. I gotta actually, that's a question for the devs. We're gonna say react, and we're gonna pass in the emoji. And, we're gonna catch the error. Okay, and we're going to, await. Okay. Cool. So again, this is just reacting to the message. Okay. Of course, you need to make sure your bot has permission to react. In this case, my bot should. So I'm actually pretty excited. We actually have an error. We have an error somewhere. Await is only valid in async, and that's because oh, you know what? Since we're inside this message callback, I'm just gonna use .then and .catch. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, there we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so let's try this out. I'm actually very excited. We have no errors. Everything's good. Perfect. I honestly love this little command table. It's so freaking awesome. Okay, so add reactions. Let's get the message ID. And let's just go ahead and do Snapchat. Did it react to it? Or, oh, I accidentally forgot to change one thing. Forgot to change that. Okay. Let's try this one more time. That was an epic fail. Snapchat. Or maybe our bot is just lagging a little bit. Snapchat. No. Oh, whoops, I apologize. It's not message.react. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, wait, okay. It's not message.react, it's fetched message.react because we're reacting to the message that we're fetching. So it should not have added it to this message. It should have added it to the message that we fetched, which is this message over here. Okay. Perfect. The bot reacts to it. Boom. We can react to it, and bam, just like that. Okay. Wow. That work? Yup, it did. Twitter. Twitter. Oh my god, this is so freaking awesome. Okay, and again, this is just the setup part. We're nowhere near done yet, so there's still a lot of fun stuff to cover for the rest of this tutorial. But again, hopefully all of this stuff made sense. Okay, just to recap on what we did from the start of this tutorial, we pretty much implemented a message collector, and we pretty much implemented the checks in our collector filter. The checks are pretty straightforward. All we're doing is we're making sure that the author that initiated the command is the same author that is giving us the emoji names with the role names. Then we're checking to make sure that the emoji and the roles that the user provides actually exist. And if all these checks succeed, we're going to return true. And if we return true, that means this filter passed this message, and it's going to emit this collect event. So inside this collector.on, we're basically listening to all the messages that are being collected. Okay, and inside the callback function, this is pretty much the message that passed the filter. Okay, and inside this callback function, what we're doing here is we're just doing the same checks that we're doing before, but the reason why we're doing those checks is because we need to actually get the emoji object as well as the role object. So we can actually, well, we actually don't need the role object, but we do need the emoji object because we need to react to the message. Okay, so in the next episode, what's next is we're going to need to save all of our data into a database. Okay, and from there, I'm going to show you guys how to get that data from the database and use the database to handle the reactions, the roles that are going to be added to. Because right now, all we've done so far was we've had the bot add reactions to the message. Okay, but we still need the database to serve our dynamic data. Okay, so again, if you guys have watched this whole entire video, props to you. Stay tuned for the part 2, and I will see you guys in that episode. Peace.